Ashkenazim, association with the Jews. All right, this is from Jewish Encyclopedia. It's Ashkenaz by Marcus Astro and Max L. Margolis. You scroll down, it says, astrologists identify Ashkenaz with a people named Ashkenazi, whose aid was sought by the many when they revolted from Asrahaddon. Both were settled near Lake Urumea. This view agrees better with the passage in Jeremiah. All right, Scythians by Joseph Jacobs, Ira Maurice Price. It is true that there was a city in Palestine called Scythilopolis, earlier Beth-Shean, but it is not known that it owes its name to these barbarians. By many, it is thought that Jeremiah refers to the ravages of the Scythian invaders, and it is possible that Ezekiel, in picturing the herds that poured down from the north, had the Scythians in mind. It has been suggested that the Ashkenaz of the Bible is equivalent to Scythia, the Scythian. All right, so they know. I mean, the people telling me, "Oh, this isn't true." It is true. I didn't make any of this up. All right. So the Scythian or Scyth or Sakai or Saka invasion in the period of Josiah, 639 to 608 BC. All right, this is a map, and it shows the route that the Scythians, Sakai, that they took. All right, this is the route they took. So let me get this real quick, and this is also in the description. So around 650 to 630 BC, the Scythians briefly dominated the Medes of the western Iranian Plateau and stretched their power to the borders of Egypt. Around 639 to 608 BC, the Scythian invasion in the period of Josiah brought the Scythians to pass through the former lands of the northern kingdom. The town of Scythians was known as Scythopolis to the Greeks from the Hellenistic period 323 BC until the Arab conquest, biblical Beth-Shean, 634 to 638 Common Era. The location is in northern modern-day Israel. And the Apocrypha, the books of Judith, chapter 3, verse 10, and 2 Maccabees, chapter 12, verses 29 through 30, mentions the city Scythopolis. The population were known as the Scythopolitans, who were not Jews or Semites or Yahudim. In the 11th century, Shlomo Yitzhaki, known as Rashi, gave biblical names to locations in Europe. All right. So he gave these biblical names to Europe. What do I mean by biblical names in Europe? This guy believed that the land of Canaan was in Bohemia. He believed that Sepharad was Spain. He believed that Germany was Ashkenaz. And he believed that France was Zarephath, which is actually in Lebanon, modern day Lebanon. So this 11th century Rashi, he came out of the woodworks with all this. Like, it's just complete nonsense. And here it goes. France was called Zarephath. And it's 1 Kings chapter 17, verse 9. And that location is actually in modern day Lebanon. They call it like Saraland. But this this guy was off his knocker because he came out of the woodworks with these locations, and they're not correct at all. And this is the problem with when you're talking to people about, the word Ashkenaz, Sepharad. They just don't have no idea where these locations were. They have no idea. They just guess. They have no idea. And what they're guessing by is based off of what this Rashi had described it. He described that the German speech was Ashkenazi language. Completely nonsense. It was never called Ashkenazi. It was this Rashi that called it Ashkenazi. He isn't in any authority to call biblical locations based off of European countries. That's not how it works, because he thought it sounded like that. How does he know? Was he in ancient Iran, or the steppe, or the Caucasus, or ancient Russia when these Scythians, this Ashkenazi, were speaking? He wasn't. He had no idea. No idea. But it's known that the Assyrians called the Scythians, or the Saka, or the Saki, they called them Ashkazi. That's where that Semitic word comes from, Ashkazi. The Germans called them Scythians. Scyths. Not Ashkazi, they call them Scyths. This is where the confusion comes from. If you know Greek, you can clearly see the K right there. Scyths. All right. And this is a great read. It basically breaks down my first video into detail. I could put this in the description box. All right, the next one, this Scythopolis. All right. So Scythopolis is the city of the Scythians. And you see how they spelled it, Scythians? Instead of a C, they spelled it with an E, Scythians. But in old tongue, they would say Scyths, Scythians, Scath, or Saka. And this is where it occurs in Judith chapter 3, verse 10. Just like I said in 2nd Maccabees chapter 12, 29 and 30. And that one's a really good read. I can actually get that one real quick for y'all. All right. So 29, from thence they departed to Scythopolis, which lieth 600 furlongs from Jerusalem. But when the Jews, the Yahudim, that dwelt there had testified that the Scythopolitans or Cyphilopolitans dealt lovingly with them and entreated them kindly in the time of their adversary. So, but what did this encyclopedia call them? Barbarians. They called them barbarians. But here they're saying that they treated them good. They treated the Yahudim, the Jews, good. But make no mistake, these Scythians or Scythians or Sakai were not Israelites, and they weren't practicing as Jews during this time. Right? But I think that changed later on in Colossians, where there's neither Jew nor Greek, nor barbarians, or uncircumcised, circumcised, Scythian. You know what I'm saying? All right. Go back. But this is also a good read. If you have the time, I can also put this in the description box. And the paper, I'm going to bring it up too. I have a paper regarding that. It was actually written at the Hebrew University. All right. Now, this is very important. So this is from Iran El-Hayek, The Missing Link of Jewish European Ancestry, contrasting the Rhineland and the Khazarian hypothesis. All right, I'm not going to read this article, but if you want to, you know the name of the title. If you ask me for it in the comments, I can I can paste the URL. I can comment back the URL. All right, the Khazars were a confederation of Slavic, Scythian, very important, Hunnic, Bulgar, Iranian, Alans. Who were the Alans? Also related to the Scythians or the Scythians, Turkish tribes who formed in the central northern Caucasus, one of the most powerful empires during the late Iron Age, and converted to Judaism in the 8th century CE. All right, that's your citations right there. Like 1951, broke 2006, saying 2009. Like I said, if you want this article, you can either search the name or I can send it to you and as a comment. All right, moving on. All right, in this article, I just want to point out something real quick. The Altanians. This paper is actually originally in Russian, if I'm not mistaken, or Ukrainian. I think it's Russian, but it's the indigenous people of the Altai Sayan gene pool ratio according to DNA markers, autosomal, and Y chromosomes. That's the authors. But if you scroll down, you have to translate it to English. If you scroll down, you will see that the histogram shows the Y chromosome haplogroups typical for Altians as a whole. Almost half of all Y chromosome variants are represented by the R1A haplogroup. Now, the Altians were Scythians. They were the ancestors that migrated to the east in Russia. All right, I'm gonna show that right now. All right. So it's in this article right here, Scythians, Climate Change, and Indigenous Rights in the Altai Mountains. If you scroll all the way down, I think it's down to the bottom, Jennifer Kastner believes the British Museum needs to do better. Quote, museums must work harder to incorporate the United Nations principles of free, prior, and informed consent when it comes to exhibits featuring archaeological and cultural artifacts. The Altian natives peoples of Russia have a deep spiritual and cultural connection to the ancient Scythians and Pazaric Kurgans. Grave goods, stele, and petroglyphs on display at the British Museum. Despite the lack of genetic connection, the Altians see these ancient peoples as ancestors who largely shared their worldview, and they are thus deeply troubled by these excavations and exhibits. Now, this Pazaric culture, they were also R1A. Also R1A. I got it on Wikipedia. You can find the article, but they were also R1A. The Pazaric males showed them to belong to clades of haplogroup R1A1. There's the two citations right here. And I actually went over both of these citations in episode 2. So there you go. All right. Now, so this is 23andMe backpedals on Khazar theory, but the alt-right eats it up anyway. So when people were testing positive for white DNA R-M198, it told them that this man was a member of the Kazars and that he converted to Judaism and brought this subclade to the Ashkenazi Jews, which is complete nonsense. Because not one man was responsible for all those people of Ashkenazi, Jewish, Levites, Israelite origins that carry R1A1. But I'm going to show that coming up. But just it was important to show this one. I can show you the article. That's what it's called. 23andMe backpedals on Khazar theory, but the alt-right eats it up anyways. So it's talking about that specific cobble group. All right. I think that's all I want to show right now. So I'm going to get to the PDFs. some reason it's not working. There we go. Got it. All right, so this is the paper that's written the Jerusalem Hebrew University MAV Yonah Scythopolis. All right, this is a really good read. It's very like formal. It's a lot of information you can find in this article. Very, very important. You have to have access to download this PDF. But if you want, just hit me up, ask me for it, and I'll email it to you. It's a really, really good read, though. It goes into depth of when the Scythians would have came to Palestine, which would have been the northern kingdom, former northern kingdom before the Assyrian captivity. So yeah, it goes into deep detail. It goes all the way from the Hellenistic period all the way to the Arab conquest. But this is a very, very informal read. I'd love to sit here and just, spend time reading this, but it's going to be very time consuming. You're going to see what I'm talking about because I have nine or 10 articles of DNA that we're going to go over today. So it's going to be it's going to be a lot of information. So yeah, this is important though that I wanted to discuss. So we do not even know what the Scythians called themselves. Very important. That's the reason why, like Sakai, the Saki, Scythians, Scythians, we don't know what they call themselves. This is the reason why the Assyrians are documented calling them the Ashkenazi, Ashkaza. And it's it's referencing to the biblical, which corresponds to the biblical Ashkenaz. In Persian, they are called Saka, but we may well ask whether this is their conscious name. All right, so let it make no mistakes that all the scholars know, and that they definitely were called Ashkenazi. That's the Semitic word for them. So, and basically the Jews or Yahudim or ancient Judeans, when they were in Assyrian captivity, the Babylonian captivity, which was ruled by the Assyrians, they would have known what the Assyrians knew. All right. So the town of the Scythians or Scythopolis. All right. Like I said, just ask me for this one, and I can email it to you. My email is on my about on the web site version of YouTube. So that's where you can find it. All right, go to the top of this one. All right, so I know this is an outdated article. It's 2003, and I've gotten really good at placing these articles in order for y'all from like the oldest to the newest. All right, so this one's multiple origins of Ashkenazi Levites, white chromosome evidence for both Near Eastern and European ancestries. All right, this is what I'm talking about right here. This is the Rashi 11th century misinformation that he spewed, that they claim, oh, 6th century. No, it's 11th century. But the term Ashkenaz describes a relatively compact area of Jewish settlement in northwestern Europe, including northeastern France and northern Germany, where Jewish settlement is documented dating back to at least the 6th century CE. All right? And here it goes again. That's what I'm talking about. All misinformation. Let's see what I want to do. This one. All right. So I think it's just this I don't want to read. The results of haplogroup frequencies found in the 6 Jewish and 4 non-Jewish data sets are shown in Table 1. The table confirms that the presence of R1A1 as a model haplogroup in the Ashkenazi Levite Jews, 52% of chromosomes. Yeah, boy. So I think this is like one of the first studies, actually. So let me go to the next one. All right. So this is Y chromosome evidence for a founder effect in Ashkenazi Jews. All right. You see what I'm saying? Ashkenazim have an elevated frequency of R-M17, the dominant Y chromosome haplogroup, in Eastern Europeans, suggesting possible gene flow. It's crazy. 11.5% found to belong to R-M17 Ashkenazim. RM17 chromosomes in Ashkenazi may represent vestiges of the mysterious Kazars. And I know they didn't like this when this came out. This file is actually protected. I can't even edit it. Remember, check this out. If R-M17 had been present in substantial frequency in the pre-diaspora Y chromosome pool, one would expect to observe the ancestral haplotype H6 in other Jewish groups and in Palestinians who share a large portion of their Y chromosomes with the Jews. However, in a combined non-Ashkenazi sample of 320 individuals, Sephardic, Kurdish Jews, and Palestinians, H6 was found only in a single Sephardic Jew, 0.3%. It says this finding strongly suggests gene flow from an external population into the Ashkenazi gene pool. Bam. And while we're on that, I'm gonna bring up something that's gonna be important because I'm sure most people is gonna want to know which like what is the oldest R1A sample found in the Levant. And this individual belongs to sample ID I2189. Let me see if it's showing the screen right here. You see it? His autosomal was 44% on Caucasus hunter-gatherer. What is that? Like not even 1% Eastern hunter-gatherer. Natufian or Levant pre-pottery Neolithic, 33%. And Turkey, so this is Northwest Turkey at like 14%, 15%. Right? Let's go to this haplogroup. So this individual population is Israel Canaanite, middle, late Bronze Age. He was a brother. He had a sister with him. His sister was ID sample I2200. Let's see, that's showing. There we go. So you see the haplogroup right there. He belongs to R1A1A1. So this is the oldest and the only R1A1 sample found in ancient Israel. And that's what I was talking about, the population he belonged to. I know that's very important for people because people don't want to know what samples of R1A1 was found in ancient Israel. Well, that's it. That's the one. All right. Close this out. All right. Yada yadas. This talks about how the Khazars were originally a Turkic tribe, and no, the Khazars came from Central Asia. They didn't carry R1A originally. They carried like Q3. And once they became the part of the confederation of the Scythians, the Scyths, then they started carrying R1A1, but they did not carry R1A1 until they came amongst the Western Russia, until that region of like Ukraine, modern day Ukraine, Russia. So, since R-M17 haplogroup is also found at moderate to high frequencies in Central Asia and southern Russia, Ukraine, this haplogroup could have been present in the Khazars. However, if the RM17 chromosomes in Ashkenazi Jews do indeed represent the vestiges of the mysterious Khazars, then according to our data, this contribution was limited in either a single founder or a few closely related men and does not exceed more than 12% of present day Ashkenazim. And the thing is, first of all, why are they so focused on the Ashkenazim and the Khazars? Those two weren't the same people. Just like I said, the Khazars belong to like Q3, and the real Ashkenazim, the Scythians, belong to R1A1. So those are two different haplogroups. Yes, they are related, but further down, Q separated from R. So there are two different haplogroups. They're not the same. So anybody saying they're the same, no. The Khazars did not would have not been carrying R1A1 originally. That's incorrect. All right. This is the next article, and this is one of the best ones. Because if those Ashkenazi Jews, Levites, Israelites um are the real Hebrews, then guess what? Those Pathans in Afghanistan, they the real Israelites then. The Pashtu in Afghanistan, yeah, they carry the R1A1 too, and they're the real Israelites then. So all these R1A1s, if that's the correct Hebrew haplogroup of ancient times, then these Afghans are the real Hebrews too. But I don't think they want to come to that one. And this paper's gonna clear this up right now. Afghanistan from a Y chromosome perspective. All right, got this one highlighted. Since the last one didn't let me highlight it, this one I could. All right, says where the origin's at. It's what separates it: the Hindu Kush, North Afghanistan, South Afghanistan. And it does matter because there was different gene flow and haplogroups amongst these two. The majority of the Afghan individuals examined in the current investigation belong to haplogroup R-M207, 67.4%, with subhaplogroup R1A1A asterisk M198 predominating in both the north 50% and the south 65.8%. Collections. This is also reflected in the contour maps of R1A1A-M198. This shows the Neolithic expansion in the J or G2C, because they also say that G2C could possibly be a Khazar, and it's not a Khazar. Haplogroup G ain't got nothing to do with the Khazars. Like I said, the Khazars were originally carrying haplogroup Q, and they were more like a Mongoloid. I actually got a paper, if I'm not mistaken, coming up that's gonna show that. Look. All right, so this is Pathans from North Afghanistan is in the green. Pathans from the South Afghanistan is yellow. So it's separated. We see the altitude amongst them: Caucasus, Greece, India, Iran, Kyrgyzstan, Nepal, Oman, Pakistan, Russia, Slovenia, um, um, United Emirates, and Ukraine is Slovakia. Yeah, for somebody that spent 2 years in Afghanistan, that's how many years I spent in deployment to Afghanistan. I know that the Afghans are a really mixed race of people. It's the funniest thing. I had somebody comment that they reminded them of a bunch of like Mexicans or Puerto Ricans because they were just so mixed. You can tell in their face they're very mixed people. But this one I wanted to read, so it's showing here right here. So, however, the absence of the predominantly Greek EV13 lineage in the Parthians does not argue for genetic contributions from Greece. Ashkenazi Levites and our North and South Afghanistan populations, on the other hand, exhibit significantly higher frequency of the R1A1A-M198 haplogroup, 51.7%, 50%, and 65.8% respectively, whereas lower frequencies are detected in Ashkenazi Kohanim, 1.3%, and Ashkenazi Israelites, 4%. Overall, Ashkenazi Jews exhibit a frequency of 15.3% for haplogroup R1A1A-M198. Nebel et al. Propose on the basis of the moderate to high frequency of R1A1A in Central Asia and southern Russia or Ukraine that these R1A1A chromosomes in Ashkenazi groups might represent vestiges of Khazars. At least they're being honest, you know what I'm saying? It's not like, oh, there's no way they belong to the Khazars, it's R1A1. Yes, they understand that they could. And here's the thing, like I said, it was actually Scythians because the Khazars didn't carry Q3 R1A1. They carried Q3, haplogroup Q, not R1A1. All right, so in conclusion, our results indicate that Afghanistan exhibits patrilineal elements from the Neolithic Revolution dispersal across Central Asia. Go down. Our study demonstrates genetic similarity among Parthians from Afghanistan and Parthians from Pakistan, supported by a significant number of individuals belonging to haplogroup R1A1A M198 and sharing the same model haplotype. Genetic signatures of South Central Asian populations are evident in their patrilineages and may represent gene flow associated with the Silk Road migrations. In addition, the high frequencies of R1A1-M198 chromosomes and the sharing of 7 YSTR haplotypes among Parthians, Ashkenazi Jews, and West Russians may represent vestiges from the Kazars of Central Asia that converted to Judaism at the end of the 8th century CE, connecting Parthians with certain Ashkenazi Jews by the way of a common Khazar ancestry. And look what they put right underneath that. Conflict of interest. The authors declare no conflict of interest. It's crazy that they had to even put that. It's crazy. And here's my thing. I'm not saying that the Khazars are what caused the R1A1A amongst the Ashkenazi Jews, Levites, and Israelites. I'm not saying that. I believe that the Scythians converted way before then. I'm saying like back in during the Greek time, like later after the Greeks, maybe during the Roman times. I'm saying like that this diaspora, when they kicked the people out, I think they converted then. That's the reason why in Colossians, in the book of Colossians, that's why there's neither barbarian and Scythian, because they were still in the land. So I believe that's when, but according to this, they could see that the Khazars did represent a small percentage, which would actually been Scythians, and they went to Afghanistan. All right, next paper. The phylogenetic applications of the whole Y chromosome frequencies and the Near Eastern origin of the Ashkenazi Levites. All right, so again, it shows us that the Ashkenazi Levites carry a good portion of R1A. We see the Levites carrying 33.8%, while the Ashkenazi Jews carry 5.9%, and somewhere around there, the Ashkenazi Israelites carry another portion of R1A. But this paper, I guess they didn't show that one. All right, so right here it says, however, because of the paucity of distinctive internal substructure of haplogroup R1A, it was not possible to suggest a particular European source population, nor to test the hypothesis of a Turkic-speaking Khazar ancestor, which has been proposed in light of the narrative that members of the Khazar ruling class may have converted to Judaism in the 8th or 9th century. Like I said again, these people, if there was converts of R1A1, they would have already converted. That's the reason why they're brought up in the Brit Hadashah. They were already converted. There was no need to convert them when they were already converted. You see what I'm saying? It's ridiculous that all these papers just focus on the Khazars instead of the Scythians, the Skiffs. All right. So it shows which people carried is the R1A. I'm focusing on R1A right now. So it shows the people, the Ashkenazi Levites. This M582. And it shows that the Ashkenazi Jews have a little bit of mixture of Central Europe and non-Ashkenazi Jews amongst them. And you can see that they have some close relationships to non-Ashkenazi Jews, but eh. All right, we see the totals right here of Jews carrying the R-M198 and R-M582. So Ashkenazi Jews carry it at 8.66%. Non-Ashkenazi Jews carry at 14.50%, and non-Ashkenazi Jews. So yeah, and then the RM582, they carry 6.33. The Ashkenazi Jews 13.33, and then non-Ashkenazi Jews 1.22. And the most interesting thing about all of this is I would love for a DNA company like Family Tree DNA or something like that, or to test all the Israelis in Israel, and the numbers just skyrocket of R1A. And to me, like, one of the most funniest things of this would be like majority of Israelis carry like R1A or R1B, and they kick the Palestinians out of their lands, claiming they're the original ancient Judeans and whatnot, and the land belongs to them. And it actually belonged to like majority of the Bedouins and the Palestinians, because they belong to the ancient J1 page 58 and EN 34, and a few T1A1s. All right, the European samples carrying haplogroup R1A-M582 haplotypes add no further diversity to that found among Ashkenazi Jews, Despite having been identified at different European locations, these haplotypes are actually identical or one step removed from the Levite model haplotype. If haplogroup R1A-M582 were of general ancient European ancestry, we would have observed at least some baseline diversity in genetic distance expressed in a few STR-based mutational events between the lineages evolving in the general European gene pool and the one lineage whose evolution is confined to the Ashkenazi samples. The most interesting thing about this is what I'm talking about right here. They're talking about like the three potential geographic sources should be considered: the Near East, this geographic location with the ancient Hebrews, Europe being of the Jewish diaspora, and then the concept of the Kazars converting to Judaism. But basically, this paper rules that out. Most papers do. They rule out that they have possible Khazar conversion amongst them, which I find interesting because they don't rule out the whole Scythians, because they don't want to go into that, because once they go into that and once they talk about like R1A and how it's different, it wasn't really found except for one sample in the Near East, which would be the Middle Late Bronze Age. It's going to be that one sample and its sister, which who is that? You know what I'm saying? Like, this one person and his sister was brought from the north. Like, who is that? Um, let's see. Okay, under this scenario, this particular R1A-M582 Levite lineage existed among the ancient Hebrews and was carried to the various Jewish diaspora communities in a manner similar to that of the Cohen model haplotype. No, they did not. However, recent studies of genome-wide diversity point to the recent shared Levant ancestries and a close genetic proximity among members of the Ashkenazi, North African, and Spanish exile Jewish communities. And like I said, this whole R1A is coming from the Scythians and their Scythopolis. I'm telling you, they were in that land for a long time. They mixed with the women, the Canaanite women, whatever you want to call them. They mixed. They had this little bit of Natufian DNA, a little bit of the Caucasus hunter-gatherer that was already mixed in the Levant, and now they have Near Eastern, Middle Eastern origins. It's crazy. They're ancient Hebrews. Insane. But they came after the fact of the northern people, the northern kingdom, being kicked out of the land by the Assyrians. I tell you what. All right, in summary, we have circumscribed the geography of the marker M582 within the broad distribution zone of R1A-M198 asterisk lineages. We have shown it to be a minor haplogroup that is primarily shared among Iranian Kurman, Iranian Azeri, Kurds, Ashkenazi Jews, and non-Ashkenazi Jews, and that it is virtually absent in the Caucasus region, Europe, South Asia, and southern Siberia. So if it's absent, where did these people come from? If they was originally from there, like, I'm trying to figure that out. If it's absent from Europe or the Caucasus region, did they not come from these regions with this haplogroup? Oh, they did, right? Oh, okay. So yeah, maybe it was them that came to Israel or went somewhere else, and they're saying, "Oh, no other people there have it, but these Jews, these Ashkenazi Jews have it. These Ashkenazi Levites have it." It's crazy. Ashkenazi Levite founding lineage. We conclude that the haplogroup R1A-M582 was likely carried into Europe by Jewish migrants, and that it expanded among Ashkenazi Levites during their subsequent diaspora period in a region that it is incidentally dominated by other R1A para haplogroups that coalesce with R1A-M582 prior to the establishment of the Jewish people. All right, the existence of the R1A-M582 lineage within non-Ashkenazi Levites from different Jewish communities suggests it to be either be a pre-diaspora Hebrew Levite lineage, or that continuous gene flow existed between Jewish communities, presumably from Ashkenazi to non-Ashkenazi Jews. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. Like, it's crazy how they get that. You're gonna tell me that these people are not like they're not biased? Like, it's crazy how they wrote that, making them ancient Hebrew Levites. Like, it makes no sense how they wrote that. Like, these people, it just seems like they're getting paid off to write stuff like that. And I have another paper. It's actually the latest paper covering this. Did the exact same thing. Did the exact same thing. All right. All right, so this is localizing Ashkenazic Jews to primeval villages in the ancient Iranian lands of Ashkenaz. This is the one that a lot of people hate because they basically said that the Ashkenazi Jews came from like Turkey. So a lot of people don't like this paper. But I want to show that the Ashkenazic and Scythian, yeah, that's pretty much what they were. The Ashkenazi were the Scythians. They were one and the same people. That's the reason why there's R1A1 amongst the Ashkenazi Jews, because that's what they carried. The Scythians carried that. So if they were amongst them, if they converted in the land of Palestine, um, or whatever it was called, Scythopolis, in their little city, then so be it. You know, they were there for so long. They were there for Christianity when Christianity started. So I'm just saying, you know, they adopted to the ways of the land. They took in the culture. All right, so in this paper, it goes over how the Yiddish speakers, how it's Hebrew like, but it's also like has some other connections to like Slavic, Iranian, and Turkic origins amongst it. And also, this is the quote from episode 1 where the name comes from. Some Assyrian and Babylonian documents of the 7th century BC. See, this is primary sources right here. That would be a primary source. So this is a secondary source quoting a primary source. These Jews were descended either from Judean immigrants or more likely from local converts to Judaism, and were extremely active in the international trade, as evident from the Talmud and the non-Jewish historical sources. So, and that's my whole belief is, I believe the Assyrians, they knew the Scythians, they dealt with the Scythians, and I believe that they either traded slaves to the Scythians, that were of the northern kingdom, um, or you know, when the Scythians came all the way to Egypt, some of them settled down in the land that was formerly the northern kingdom, and they settled there, and they, you know, dealt with the Judeans, and they slowly intermingled with them, or slowly converted to the religion. That's what I believe. So the Scythian Iron Age individual included in our analysis, the absence of a significant ancient DNA from the relevant time period require using modern-day populations as substitutes may restrict our ability to ascertain all the founding populations of AJs. All right, so their hypothesis. All right, so this goes over how they. Let me fix this real quick. Let me see if that's better. I always have problems with these articles. There it goes. All right. So important to know. These samples, a lot of them have like 0 to 2% sub-Saharan African component amongst them. And this Yiddish speakers, and this is using their system. Where how Iran Alhaic used to determine where their location came from. And that's how they figured out, was based off this primeval villages that bear the names that may derive from Ashkenaz. It gives you the locations of where these places were at. All right, so the Hobble Group analysts of AJs. More respectfully, the most common mtDNA Hobble groups K1A, H1N1, J1, HV, and K2A are present in 65% of the individuals, compared with 74% of the individuals that belong to the most common Y Hobble groups J1A, E1B, J2A, R1A, and R1B. The top 6 most common high-resolution mtDNA: K1A, 1B, 1A 16.89%, N1 7.36%, K1A 9 6.54%, K2A 2A 4.36%, HV1B2 and HV5 3.54% each, and Y R1A 1A2 A2 8.98%, J1 A1 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 7.76%, and I'm just gonna say EN34 6.93%, J-M267 5.31%, R-M267 M269 4.9%, and J2B1 4.49%. Hob groups are present in about a third of the samples. All right, and it shows no individual was positioned in Germany or proximate to the ancient pre-Scythian individual who was localized in Ukraine, 500 kilometers from Ladasvaraja in Hungary, where it was originally found. So, all right, this is the distribution amongst the samples, and they use the Bedouin and the Palestinians as Israelite samples. So we see the Palestinian Israelite samples have a high percentage of Mediterranean amongst them, and Southwest Asian amongst them, and a little bit Northern European amongst them. But they see this pretty much similar to the Ashkenazi Jews. I would say they have more. The Ashkenazi Jews have more Northern European, obviously, amongst them. But what's so funny, if you do a DNA test with Ancestry.com, 23andMe, and whatnot, Family Tree DNA, they're going to say there are 100% or so percent, whatever, Jews of Europe or Ashkenazi Jews. They're not going to show that they have European admix amongst them. All right, let's see if there's any more. All right, so this shows the populations that they would be closely related to, or and this goes back. See this box right here is basically where that location of the Ashkenazi, the cities that he's talking about was located, and a good group of them came from that region, which is really a good guess of Scythians settling in Turkey. I mean, there's no telling where, but this one blue sample is that ancient pre-Scythian individual was found, and the Scythians really like covered a good portion of the Black Sea all the way to eastern Russia, going towards the ancient Khazar, which was to the right of or east of the Caspian Sea, a little bit, I would say, going to towards more of East Asia, where it was located. If you look up the map, you'll see ancient Khazari. It was all the way to the east of Caspian Sea. All right, where am I? How far am I? Well, I'm at like 55 minutes, y'all. Unfortunately, this is gonna have to be a long video, like I said, but it is what it is. Just a lot of information to gather. Let's go down. It goes into the whole concept that the term Ashkenaz is already a tantalizing clue to the large Iranian origin group that inhabited the central Eurasian steppes, though it cannot be considered evidence of a Scythian origin due to the lack of records about the Scythian culture and the obsolescence of Scythian language about 500 years prior to the appearance of Yiddish. It is more likely that AJs called themselves Scythians because this was a popular name in the Bible and in the Caucasus, Ukraine area. I'm trying to figure out where he said it is a popular name in the Bible. I'm trying to figure out which Bible did they have to say that, but it is what it is. Unless that they knew that they were Gentiles and they were going based off of that, even long after the disappearance of the Scythians. Maybe it's the Greek Septuagint. In Judges, dang, it's Judges chapter 1 or something like that. Judges chapter 1, um, verse 27, I believe. If you go to the Septuagint, Judges chapter 1, verse 27, it talks about Manasseh trying to drive out the inhabitants of Beth-Shean, and the Scythians were in that place. But we know that the Scythians weren't there yet. I don't know, they could have been, but I doubt it. But during the Greeks' time, they knew the Scythians lived in that area, so that's what they based it off of. That's my assumption of why the Greek Septuagint says that. All right. So regarding like the Bedouins and the Palestinians, remarkably, the only few expectations, e.g., Ned et al. 2009, Zulsman Diskin 2010, these findings have been consistently misinterpreted in favor of a Middle Eastern Judean ancestry, although the data do not support such contention for either Y chromosome. So it's actually talking about the AJs, the Ashkenazi Jews, but as opposed to the Middle Eastern populations, Bedouins and Palestinians. So these people actually have Middle Easterns, but the AJs don't. And I mean, I'm just saying, how do you spend since the 6th century in Europe and you're supposed to still have, no, I don't believe that. I know a bunch of women converted to Judaism in Europe. I mean, it's happened. I've seen it in the United States. I've met people with either their dad was a convert or their mom was a convert. I've met them both. So there's no telling how many people converted in Europe. People fall in love, they fall in love. Love isn't it doesn't stop somebody from converting to a religion. If you love somebody that you know you want to be with that person, you convert to the religion. It is what it is. All right. I'm gonna move on. I want to get to the. All right, so this paper right here, the genetic variation in the R1A clade among the Ashkenazi Levites Y chromosome. All right, this paper right here, I downloaded the supplementary materials or PDF, which is actually the main reason why I open it, but to gain more information for those that really have no idea. This is a good paper to read, article to read. Talks about J1 page 58, and how like they're different with the art. But I wanted to get this exact quote from this paper, this article. And by the way, for those that don't know, so R-Z93 is actually a Scythian Hobble group. So that's what majority of these R1A1s fall underneath. That the Ashkenazi, Levites, Jews, and Israelites belong to. I think it's Z93 and Z92. All right, this one right here, this is so funny. So evidently, members of the R1A-Y2619 Levite cast and the J1A-page 58 Cohen cast do not share a common male ancestor within the time frame of the biblical narrative. You think? I mean, one starts with R, the other one starts with J. What did you think they're gonna belong to? I can't believe, and it's so funny because it's like you got all these people claiming we come from this man named Levi and Aaron and whatnot. You sure about that, y'all? Y'all really sure about that? And it's so funny because them calling themselves Levites and Cohens, they all believe they came from this one man and they carrying different Y chromosomes. Hysterical. It is hysterical. It's so funny. As in the case of the Ashkenazi Levites, the Ashkenazi Cohen J1A-page 58 lineage formed a tight cluster nested within a Middle Eastern set of samples, confirming its origin. So this origin is confirmed. This one, not so much. But like I said, the Scythians were in in Palestine, so the ancient land. So hey, I'm just saying they were there, so maybe they sometime in that time they converted during Christianity. I don't know. Um, I have no idea. There's neither barbarian or Scythian or Ashkenaz, because that's what it actually supposed to say. It's supposed to say Ashkenaz. That's the Semitic word for Scythian is Ashkenaz. So hey, I'm just saying are in particular the study of the most dominant Cohen lineage nested with the prevalent Hobble group J1-page 58, along with the expert historical input, might grant critical insight to the understanding of the Hebrews in the Old World. Furthermore, ancient DNA studies of the Levant may offer direct information. Indeed, a recent study revealed the presence of both J1A-page 58 and J2-M12 Y chromosomes frequent and among contemporary Jews, and two Canaanite samples date to 3000 BC, years before present. I don't know about that. This is old, so this is 2017. So, like I said, that Tel Megiddo individual, that Israel Finkelstein doesn't want to say it was an Israelite because Israelite isn't a genetic term. In his papers, he says that I think it's K4 or whatever house or hut he was living in, thing he was living in was burned down in one occasion, and that occasion was the Egyptians sacking Tel Megiddo. So I'm gonna leave it like that. I'm gonna leave it at that, and that's the only sample that I know of that can be in the time period of the people that are called Israelite. So I'm gonna leave it at that though. It can be further argued that the fact that the non-Ashkenazi Levite R1A-Y2619 men are well distributed within the Ashkenazi Levite phylogeny, rather than clustered separately, lends more credence into the scenario that the R1A-Y2619 male entered Europe with an Ashkenazi founders. The Ashkenazi founders meaning the Scythians, because they were the founders of Ashkenaz, the Scythians. So, all right, yikes. So Ashkenazi Levite R1A-Y2619, the pedigree obtained Levite status remains uncertain. So how that happened is remains uncertain. Yeah, I'm trying to tell you, I'm still trying to figure that too. Especially evidently, R1A and J page 58 aren't related to each other paternally. Evidently. Oh man. All right. Let me see if that's all I'm gonna read. Yeah, that's it. All right, this is the most important thing. Let me make sure I get this fixed. So this is the genetic variation in the R1A clade among the Ashkenazi Levites by chromosome. This is the supplementary PDF. Let me make sure I get this fixed before. Yeah, so this one's showing all the haplogroups, but I'm gonna fix this one first before. There we go. Let me make sure y'all can see this before I start. Perfect. All right. So these are all no. Well, take a wild guess what haplogroup these belong to. Give you about 5 seconds to guess. Just say whatever haplogroup comes to your mind. If you guess R1A1, you'll be correct. These belong to R1 A. It's crazy, right? And you see what I'm saying about this Israelite Ashkenazi Jew Israelite. Look at all these samples. That's ridiculous, man. I think it's more than what they're saying. That's why I would love for Israel to give a free DNA test to all the Israelis, and majority of them pop up as R1A. That's crazy, man. And these people replaced the Bedouins and the Palestinians. What is it, Samaritans? I think some of them, and those and Jews too. Like everybody was living there. They were living in peace. There wasn't nothing going on. It wasn't until the British came in there causing all the problems. I'm gonna show you all these other haplogroups too. So these are these belong to J1B. You start seeing the Saudi Arabian Bedouins, even the Afghan Jew, Afghani Jew. I thought it was just Afghan Jew, but I guess Afghanite Jew. Cohen. He also belongs to J1B, page 58. Let's see if that fixes it. But yeah, that looks better. Wanted to get it more. There we go. That looks better. So much better. All right, these are the J2As. Oh yeah, I wanted to bring your attention to the Jerba Jews, the Cohens. These are the Jews that were either sent during the end of the Second Temple or 70 AD under the Romans. So yeah, those are very, very important right there. All right, so these down here are more of the Canaanite Jews, the J2B Canaanite Jews, because they said that, modern Lebanese, 93%, Arabs and Jews, well, these are the ones they're talking about. It is true. All right, so these are the EM34 samples, and it goes into the EM84 also. Then it goes into the EM78, EM35. EV13, EV12 and 22, or EV22. Even they got the Masi on here. Let's see. Bedouin. All right, these are the E1B1As, EM2s. We see African Americans. And then we got E1A, I think it is, E1A, EM33. And we see one simple Ashkenazi Jew under that one. All right, this one is I think it's G2A. Yeah, it's G2A. Look at that lone Mexican up there with the G2A haplogroup. That's crazy. All right. And this is the one they try to knock up and say, oh, those are the Kazars, these haplogroup J2As. Man, they need to sit down somewhere. J2Bs. I believe these are the Q1As. Q1C. Go down to the Q3s. Here we go. So these are the Khazar Jews. This is what they talking about. When they say Khazar Jews, they talking about these ones. These are the Khazar Jews. The Khazars didn't carry R1A1 originally. They carry Q3. Similar to like Native Americans. I think it's the Siberians. They carry Q3. That's why they say Native Americans originally came from East Asia, because they carry that paternal haplogroup Q3. Q3. All right, if I'm not mistaken, these are the T1As. T1A1. And I mean, T1A1 is pretty diverse. I mean, Ashkenazi Jew, Georgian Jew, Turkish Jew, Moroccan Jew, Palestinian, Iranian Jew. So there's no doubt about it that it was definitely amongst the ancient Judeans. Like I said before, ancient Judeans were a mixed multitude. Same with the people we call Israelites. I mean, let's see. This one is R1B, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, R1B. These are the R1B samples. Look at these two Puerto Ricans, conquistadors right here. These conquistador Puerto Ricans. Latins. So you can see why some of them say, oh, the Ashkenazi Jews link up with like Italians and stuff like that. I see why. We see why. Look at that, Israel and Arab in Israel. Italian Jew, Ashkenazi Jew. All right, that's it. All right, so this is the paper I'm talking about. Um, it's one of those other ones to make the Ashkenazi Jews seem to the R1A1 to be like ancient Hebrews. Diverse genetic origins of medieval steppe nomad conquerors. It says our data confirm that the Turkic roots of the Khazars, but also highlight their ethnic diversity and some integration of conquered populations. See, my thing is, they were Central Asian, and we know that the Khazars became part of the Scythian Confederation, the Scythian Confederation. So I don't understand how they're gonna sit there and go to Turkey. Like, you got a whole timeline you missing. Where did they originally come from? They originally came from, like, you know, Central East Asia. Okay, they came from the Central East Asia, or Central Middle Asia, whatever you want to call it, and then they came to, like, the west, above the Black Sea, and they mixed in with the Scythians, the Ashkenaz. Let me see if I got anything highlighted here. But this is what I'm talking about right here. Right? So you see the Khazaria. These people did not originally come from here. They came from, like, more to the east. This all this land right here was Scythian. This is like the Scythian Empire, the Ashkenazi Empire was all of this land above the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea. Archaeological data do not support the adoption of Judaism by a large fraction of Cognite or net, as very few items with Judaic symbology have been found. hmm So explain to me why all these R1A1s came amongst the Khazars for. Why did the Khazars originally carry Q3, but then they had all these R1A1 samples? These findings support the view that the Khazars were a mixture of predominantly Turkic steppe tribes who conquered westward territories in probably the same manner as the Scythians, Huns, Pachinigs, and the Mongols before and after them. Let's see. Yeah, this article is 25 pages long. We also found that despite the history of steppe nomadic migration and conquest, their genetic relationships closely reflect present-day geographic location. By projecting the 9 Khazars onto the reference panel, we find that 3 of them had predominantly Asian genetic ancestry without significant European contributions, while the other 2 had significant percentages of genes from the Caucasus regions, in addition to those from Eastern Russia and Asia. All right, so mitochondrial haplotypes match nuclear findings with Asian haplotypes in the 3 Khazars that had an affinity to present-day Asian ethnicities, and European haplotypes in the others. And see, the thing is I'm gonna bring this Avars paper to close it and maybe show the Khazars carrying R1A1. Is the fact is EV13 didn't originally look Mongoloid or carry, like, Mongoloid ancestry, but the EV13 samples did intermingle with Mongoloid women. They did migrate to Kyrgyzstan. I have a Y chromosome match from Kyrgyzstan. So, and um he looks Mongoloid, like he looks completely like somebody that was originally from East Asia. Yeah, it's crazy. You would have never tell he came from no Mediterranean or anything like that. He doesn't look nothing like me or my family. Like, he looks straight like East Asian. It's crazy. All right, finally, these results match previous physical anthropology findings, which classified the Khazars into Caucasoid or Mongoloid racial types. And the thing is, they were originally Mongoloid with Q3, and they mixed in with Caucasian women. As simple as that, because when they became part of the Scythian, the Ashkenaz confederation, they just mixed in, just like the Scythians just mixed in with different women. Everybody, a lot of men did that. You know what I'm saying? They just take slaves like women and they just had babies with them. Women were like property. It's unfortunate, but it's the truth. It's not like that no more. At least not in civilized countries, I guess. All right, so here the Pazaric is a Scythian period nomadic culture 6th to 3rd centuries BC that flourished in southern Siberia, and several well-preserved burials containing mummified remains were found in Altai Mountains. That's why I was telling you that they all carried R1A1 samples. And here we go. That's the map. I'm telling you. And you can see Kazakh. That's where Khazaria was originally from. That's where the Khazars were originally from. And then they came to over the Black Sea with the Scythian Ashkenaz culture. Our analyst sheds light on the centuries-old mystery of Khazar origins, providing an insight into the structure of steppe nomad confederations and how they interacted with conquered populations. The Khazar and the Mongol governments were both confederation of different steppe tribes. Bam! What did I say? Different steppe tribes drawn over an impressive geographical range and a wide variety of ethnicities. None of these people was pure. I don't know why these some papers try to make people pure. These people weren't pure. They were mixed. I mean, the Southern Arc paper shows with Neolithic samples how mixed people were. This is further support by the observation that none of the males in our sample have purely European or Middle Eastern ancestry. Yada yada. All right. So genetic data allows us to conclusively answer the question of whether Judeized Khazars may have migrated to Eastern Europe to give rise to the present day. No, see, Ashkenaz, this is wrong. Like, who cares about the Khazars? It's the Scythians, the Scythians, the Scats, the Saka. That's the people we need to be focused on, not the Khazars. The Khazars were haplogroup Q3, which I just showed that the Ashkenazi Jews do carry Q3. So yes, they do have a Khazarian origin amongst them, but the majority have a R1A1, meaning they have that original Central Asian, like Scythian, amongst them, the Ashkenaz amongst them. And it's crazy with these paper. This paper is so insane. All right, I can't even do this one anymore. But yeah, if you want to read it on your own, like I said, it's gonna mainly deal with the fact that they weren't Khazars. All right, this is the one I'm talking about. Let me see. Skip here. All right, so 1/3 of the maternal lineages were derived from Central Inner Asia, and their most probable ultimate sources were the Asian Scythians and Asian Huns, while the majority of the lineages most likely originated from the Bronze Age Patapokva, Patafa, Rabnaya cultures of the Pontic Caspian steppe. I think there's another one. It talks about the maternal DNA. I thought there was another one. Guess not. Let's see. All right, just want to show this. The Huns carried R1A1, A1B2, A2, subclade of Z93. What'd I say? These people were related to the Scythians, just like the Ashkenazi Levites. They carry the same haplogroup that's related to these people also. Kazakhs. The West Eurasian R1A subclade of R1A is most frequent in Eastern Europe, especially among Slavic people. All right. This haplogroup was detected just in the Conqueror group. Conqueror group, huh? All right. Let me see something real quick. I want y'all to read this real quick. This is the one. One conqueror sample belongs to a haplogroup J1-M267 and another for to J2A1A-L26. Both J1 and J2 lineages are most frequent around the Middle East, Caucasus, and probably originated from this region, then expanded with pastoralists prior to the Neolithic. But I want to get to this right here. Their samples. These are the R1A ones amongst them. I thought it showed what they look like, if they look mongoloid. Maybe it's not this paper. No, it is this paper. There we go. Yeah, looky here. All right, so they had their skin complexion. One sample had an intermediate, the other one had pale intermediate. Light brown, blonde, brown. The other one had dark black hair, brown eyes. There's one up here too, intermediate, hair color dark black, brown eyes, and brown hair, dark black hair. See what I'm saying? There's a Q1 sample. I thought there was a Q3 sample in here, but I guess not. Check this one out. Let's see, there's a Q3 sample. It's not. Alright, let me see something real quick before I end this video. If you watch all this video, please like and share and subscribe. I mean, you see how much information I just gave y'all. It's crazy the amount of information I just gave y'all. You know, I'm gonna do a Q&A also. If anybody wants to have a dialogue or want to challenge anything I've said in this series, let's do it. I want you to challenge me that the Khazars weren't carrying R1A. You know what I'm saying? And that the Scythian, it didn't come from the Scythians. The Ashkenaz, the real Ashkenaz are the Scythians. All right. Yeah, let's do it. But like I said, please like, share, subscribe. If you have any like comments as far as that way I can improve this channel, like these videos, this presentation, please let me know. Yeah, that's it. I mean, that's pretty much it. I covered just about everything I wanted to. Double check if there's anything that I missed, but I think that's it. I think we're done here. Let me get this judges. I'm gonna end with this. All right, I'm gonna show you that real quick since I brought it up. This is what I'm talking about. The city of the Scythians. The Manasseh did not drive out the inhabitants of Beth-Shean, which is a city of the Scythians. So the tribe of Manasseh, right, this so-called tribe of Manasseh, had to kick these people out. But the truth is they weren't called that, but the Greeks translated the word to that. Let's see what the Young's literal translation says for this verse. So it doesn't say that. You see what I'm saying? Let's go to the KJV. It's just talking about the inhabitants. That's it. Let's do the NAV. NIV. Yeah. Yep. See? Doesn't have it. Alright, but like I said, the Greek Septuagint does. But alright, this has been Biblical DNA. I hope you enjoyed this series. Like I said, I'm gonna do a Q&A video. Just leave your comments. When's the best time to do this Q&A video, and I'm gonna get to it. I'm also gonna get to this video. Also this paper. Also, it's the one about the Greeks. It just came out. This is probably gonna be in my next video if people don't want to have a Q&A with me. It's the diverse genetic origins of a classical period Greek army. Look at this, y'all. Let me see if it's on this one. You download the PDF. Oh, wait a minute. It might be in this paper. But there's it mentions the Scythians also, and guess what samples are in this research too? R1A. There's 3 R1A samples in this paper. Look at this. Some mercenaries reputedly were recruited from areas famed for particular skills, such as archers from Scythia, Ashkenaz, and peltats from Thrace. Let me see what the other one is. I think that's the only one. But yeah, like I said, I can pull it up for y'all real quick. There are some R1As amongst them. Let me see if I can get this real quick for y'all before I close this video. All right, let me see if I can pull this up for y'all real quick. Here we go. Bam. Got it. All right. Let me see if I swerve it to. All right. Check that out, y'all. Check these R1As in Italy. Look at that. Like I said, I'm gonna do a video separate. This was in Sicily, in Imera. But look at these R1As. R1A1. And 2 of them, without a doubt, belongs to Z93. Like I said, just like the Scythians does, just like the Ashkenazi Levites does. But look at those R1A. But all right, y'all. I'm gonna leave it like that because if I'll just keep on going. So let me go ahead and close this video. Appreciate it. Biblical DNA out.